Well, I mean here, but like in other countries,
marriage is still a very big thing though. In other
that's
countries.
what I mean. Well, not only marriage, but like when you're with one person, they even if there's no marriage, they expect things. You know, here it's kind of like, oh, you play in the field until you finally get the ring. But in other countries, like, bitch, if we are arranged, I don't care what it is, you're not supposed to be out here.
But I also believe you brought up a really good point when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You had said with marriage there comes like a whole other list of things that are like benefits. So like financial wise, like
lots of tax breaks and then also like having a spouse, you have a little bit more rights when it comes to just making decisions for them, you know, if something happens.
And that sucks because like at the end of the day, I just want to be with someone where it's just like, hey, you're my partner, this is how it's going to be. But like when it comes down to like I think outside pressures of like, okay, we got to get married because what if you get sick and this happens and all this type of stuff.
It may not be for the right reason.
Yeah. And then I feel like it just puts on another title. I'd rather have the title of like a life partner than husband.
That's interesting.
I want you to be my partner.
What? What do you think about that? What do you think? What if like your girl wanted, like in marrying you, wanted to call you a life partner instead of her husband? Should we be cool with it?
I mean, look, I know what's really good. What's the problem? We in this for life. Until you piss me off.
That's what I'm saying.
Until you piss me off. What?
And I'll take it out.
What? See, that's the thing too. I think. Well, I was talking to my mom about that too. It's like I guess there was more of a, and it's a good and a bad thing that marriage kind of is like you can opt out now, and it's not that bad. Like most people think that a divorce is something that like is inevitable versus something that is like the last option nowadays. And I mean, there are valid reasons sometimes when like domestic violence and stuff like that, which I get. But like sometimes I feel like the for better or for worse is just like when we're in the for worse. And I mean, unless somebody's hurting you or maybe even bringing another life or whatever into this world, I can see that. But like, if y'all just not meshing right now, like
you gotta see past that.
Yeah, like, because this is supposed to be your life partner.
My issue with it too, though, is like when you decide to marry someone, how do you have the proper conversation where it's like, I know for myself, like if I'm telling you I'm with you right now and we're married, I am really with you.
Shit, yeah.
Tyler's just, she's preparing us a little late night, you know.
Snizak.
Yeah, sneak.
Oh, we've been recording this whole time?
Yeah, we're
recording.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, come on, fam.
No, like we just started recording 5 minutes ago or 3 minutes ago.
When we started talking about this marriage stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, marriage, look, man, I'm not tripping.
But my thing is just like, how do you know the other person? It's just, I think that's what I trip over about the most is like, how do you know? Like, do you have that conversation with the other person where they tell you, like, yeah, I'm all in it, like, blah, 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 like, yeah, like, we get married, we ain't never getting divorced or something like that. How do you tell from their actions, though, that they really about it?
Look.
I think you got to know their energy, right?
Energy can change.
It can, but if you really know that person's, like, before I get married, I want to make sure I know that person.
I feel like you will never know somebody 100%. Because we never know ourselves.
Yeah, but not 100%. But I think you technically know, like, what people's morality and limits are.
It is, but we also have to take into account that shit happen, things happen, and people change when those things happen. We can't control what they might encounter throughout their life.
Yeah.
And how they're going to react to it. Even though we know deep down inside, like, okay, this is the person I have. This is how you just never really know. So it's just living with that unknown factor that some shit can happen and it can change a lot of things. One little thing can happen in somebody's life and it can shift their whole perspective.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you know what you want. You know what you want to get into. You gotta know that there are going to be things, like you said, that can shift the paradigm of your relationship. But at the end of the day, you got out there, you recite those vows till death do us part. Are you going, are you in or are you out?
So do you come to a point though where, like, let's say where that happens, like we had just mentioned a little bit earlier, where you said like something can happen and that person just be like, okay, like no, like they can't see over that hill. It's just like, no, this just happened right now, like it's over. Like it's the solution is just to get out of it and stuff like that. But to you, like you guys made that commitment, like no, we're gonna stay in this.
I think that's where vulnerability and boundaries come in. Like I feel like.
So do you beg?
No, I feel like because you can't. I think you have to come into it with a certain perspective with the relationship. I feel like we often feel like we're told and it's framed as more so like possession, like or ownership.
But you can never possess another person,
and you can never do that, right? And so I feel like, especially given the fact that we can die at any moment, we're only experiencing people at a certain time. And
but how do you go beyond experiencing somebody? Like
you never do. Like it's based on your type of experience. But I feel like we only experience anybody because you can never possess anybody. You can never own anybody. And like you said, because our energy is fluid and we continue to grow and everything, you can never fully tie somebody, like rope them in, and you for sure got them on lock, because, and the reason why you never do want to do that, because it feels like an obligation on one end. But
isn't that what marriage is? It's a commitment. It's obligation.
But it's not. I feel like it shouldn't be obligation. It should be based on you are doing this and you are in this experience with the other person. One is mutual, so then it won't feel like an obligation because it's something that's reciprocal, right? And then two, after the fact that it's reciprocal, like we want to be in this situation, right? And we have perspectives of what the situation looks like, and we share that with each other,
So do you believe in taking breaks when shit gets tough?
I do. I feel like a lot of times we don't give each other enough space to be individuals, especially when we have kids and we get into these marriages and stuff. We forget that we came into the world by ourselves, so you need to feed into you as an individual in order to be a good mate.
So how do you take a break though when you committed to that person, you're with that person though? Because if you take a break and you have to step away from me we took that time to like, okay, we're in this for better or for worse, but you're now saying like, okay, I have to take a break to try to figure out what's going on with me. How do you guarantee that person is going to come back? Or you
never can guarantee that, but also I think it's the idea of possession versus experience, right? You can never, if you're in an experience versus a possession, you can never guarantee that type of thing. But if you're really trying to experience the other person, you'll always want to go back.
So,
and then a break to me is also where your boundaries comes in, your vulnerability, because you express what your boundaries are. Like, okay, well, what does this break mean to both of us? Is this something where we're taking time to figure out who we are individually, just as a person? Like, I'm going to do some healing and shit. I'm going to do some therapy. I'm going to do some whatever. Or you out here thotting and bopping because you are trying to get something out. Like you think you need to experience other people to see if I'm the right person. Now, that's when boundaries come in. The other person, once you communicate what this break means, the other person has to be willing to accept or reject it, and you have to be okay with that. Because, again, we don't possess or own nobody.
That's true, but there's also those relationships, though, where it's just like they kind of do have that possessiveness to it.
Most do.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think that's more of a toxic trait? Or if it's like y'all both have that understanding where it's like, you mine and I'm yours. Nobody else can step in. You can't step out. And that's that. But that's your initial agreement that you guys have.
I think it depends on, like, okay, what happens, like, after that. So, like, is that a mutual situation, right? Do both people even want that? Like, actually want it. Like, not meaning like, oh, I agree to it because I want you to be happy. It's like, no, I feel like this is what's good for my life and who I am as a person, and you do also. I think that's a whole different situation than I feel like, oh, yeah, I got it because, one, I have to do this because, one, other people think I have to do it, and this is what society tells me or whatever the case. or because I want to please you, I'm going to do what you say, and that's it. But that's not what I really want. What do you think, Chris?
Damn. Y'all said a lot. I'm not going to lie. Y'all said a lot. But to backtrack on what Shavante said about, like, you know, the whole break situation, I feel a break, you know, some people set the boundaries. Okay, what is the break? You know, when you say break, the follow-up question is always, okay, what do you mean by break? Break is we're just figuring each other out. Break is you do me, I do you. You know, that whole thing. I mean, you do you. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, that all comes in that conversation. So, it's free range if you say, I'm going to do me and you do you. That means, you know, on your break, you know, the other person can't get mad. Like, look, I let you know beforehand. You know, but some people hold you to a high standard and think you're not going to do you. And
even when we've said that that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
So that's where the vulnerability and boundaries, that's exactly it. Because, like, one, I'm being vulnerable to tell you that that's not what I really want. I'm not going to just tell you, yeah, we're going to go on this break, you do you, and I do me or whatever. But I really don't want that.
So that brings me to the point of also, like, would you rather be with someone who will sit there and fight for you? Or would you rather be with that person that's just like, okay, peace, I'm going to do me too. Bye.
But I feel like
we'll see each other later.
I feel like everybody in every relationship, man or woman, has that peace moment. I'm out. Like, everybody has that. Everybody feels that way. There's going to be an argument, a disagreement, or something that comes about. Everybody has that moment.
But there are also those people who are going to fight for you. Like, okay.
But also, why are you fighting for me? Is it because, one, I'm the right person for you? Two, what does fight for me mean? Like, are you going to speak up and say, I don't want this I don't want the break. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do you.
Or it's like, I can't do that because if you tell me you want a break, it's more of like, it's a breakup.
And I think that's perfect. That's where the vulnerability and boundaries, because you don't just accept that. You say, well, I can't do this. This is where my boundary is. I can't operate under this, so we're going to have to be on a break. Then guess what? The experience is over at that point. And then if you want to revisit it, then that's a whole new ballgame. But even in the meantime, the other person who said they wanted to be on a break and do their own thing, they don't have to feel bad about going to do their own thing after.
But you know what happens 9 times out of 10?
That the other person doesn't say that. They just be like, yeah, let's go on a break.
Or they end up coming back.
Yeah, they always do.
Everybody comes back.
But then the other person has the choice. That's all.
So how do you? My whole thing is not even how do you compromise, but how do you come to a collaboration where it's just like, hey, I know you're going through a lot right now. I don't want to take a break to a point where you sitting here like.
You have to honor yourself. That's the thing in it too. You have to honor you as the person who is trying to be nice and give somebody space or whatever. Is that right for you also? You know what I mean? Like, can you operate under those circumstances?
Can't love anybody else till you love yourself.
Exactly. And whether or not you are capable, because the thing is, when you let the other person go run around and all that stuff, and when they do come back, just because they come back doesn't mean you gotta accept them coming back. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to. You could just be like, okay, well, we could still be cool and maybe we can get to know each other anymore. But it's not going to be like, oh, we're back to square one, because that's for you. You got to protect you. Now, if you feel like you can do that, that's another thing. If that's honestly what you want, you know, without you holding a grudge and all that other stuff. But if you got to know who, and that's the key piece of knowing who you are and what you want out of life, and being able to actually communicate that with another person.
But my whole thing is this. Like we said, you know, when it's time to have a break, or, you know, when somebody says they want a break, you say you lay it out. This is what, you know, I want to do me, you do you, or you know what, I just need time to think. And in that time, you know, whatever one you decide, the other person can't be mad, because most people will say, okay, I understand. We're gonna take this break, but you can't get mad at anything that happened if if there's an agreement on I do me, you do you, because you agree. You said this. You didn't speak. You didn't speak volumes and saying like, no, I don't want that. I can't do that. So if you don't say that or mention that, then you're setting yourself up to be hurt.
And that's the thing too. That's what happens is that like you just let that shit happen.
Yeah. I think the thing is that sucks too is you can't set a timeline for that stuff.
Exactly.
That's why, to be honest, I don't really like the idea of like let's take a break because you can't tell me, okay, let's come back in 2 weeks and figure out what's gonna happen. That whole 2 weeks is just like where you go from, talking to somebody. It's kind of like a routine in a sense. And then it's just like you don't know what happens in 2 weeks and you come back. Why do I have to sit here and wait for... No, you didn't.
Oh, sorry. I thought you wanted...
Yeah,
they're organic.
I smelled it.
They're organic.
Okay.
All right. I'm about to knock this down. Cinnamon roll down. Tyler, woo. Cinnamon roll at this time.
They're organic, so...
You said woo, and I don't know why. It just reminded me of the Pop Smoke. Do you like his album?
Yes, I do. I enjoy it.
Oh,
Favorite song? The Woo. Absolutely.
I like that one. It's a little crunchy on the outside, but it's pretty good. What I was about to say?
Good question.
The other song too, I really like. Diana. Anybody need more ice? Let me know.
I'm cool.
The thing is, like, it's crazy. I still think about like when I see a picture of him, I'm like, it's so fucked up. So fucked up.
It really is.
He
wasn't even 20.
All over what?
Or 21?
All over what though?
LA niggas, we didn't even know him.
Like you just saw that he had more, and I think that's that is one of the worst things about the American, maybe even just humankind. It's just you see somebody who has more. It doesn't matter whether it's more food, more women, more money,
you just want
more
to take
jewels. You just want to take
instead of actually like saying, "Hey, put me on,"
or even just like, "Why do you want this stuff?"
Our mic's not plugged in.
It's recording. Remember, we did a test.
Our mic's not plugged in.
Oh, and
Morning, Bill.
Oh,
Probably can still hear.
It is a little bit crunchy, like a biscuit.
That should not bother me.
Yeah, it's pretty good though.
I kind of like it a little bit. It's like a biscuit.
I'm mad I had the ice cream though.
Oh God, we'll do some. We're going hiking.
Okay.
I definitely.
I gotta drink water.
I'm down with it too, cause I'm gonna be swollen.
Man, no, Chris, I'm gonna die. Like I told her to call the Uber.
She did. We're in the middle of fucking halfway nowhere. She called an Uber. I was like, oh my God, okay.
Like,
but it was on the way.
That's funny. They called the Uber on the hike.
Yes. Luckily, we were in a place where that could happen too.
I was having chills. It was bad. Like
chills,
right? Huh? Niggas started freaking out. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. My body was trying to cool itself down.
But she pushed through though, shit. Because I remember that happened to me on Hawaii. That's not a good feeling.
It's not like I thought. Like damn,
you're like it's done.
I'm about to die on a Hollywood hike.
Well, the middle part is bomb.
Damn, is there more of those over there?
Yeah, there's two. Go ahead. You want me to get you another?
That shit was busting. Oh God, it was hitting.
It was.
Damn. Run me. Another one, as DJ Khaled would say.
Another one. What y'all think about that new song with DJ Khaled and Drake?
I haven't heard it.
Which one? There's two. It's cool. I fuck with it. I listen.
It's cool, but I'm just like so disappointed in Drake. I don't know why.
Why?
I didn't like his music before was way better than this shit that's been coming out the past couple of times.
His last album was pretty good.
Left Foot Up, right?
But those were throwaway songs.
Yeah, those were just the singles. Did you listen to Chicago Freestyle?
Yeah, I liked it.
See, but those were
I miss like spinning it. Like I miss the old shit. Like brand new.
I'm sorry. Even like a lot of his shit, like November 18th was one of my favorite songs from him.
Yeah.
But even like his songs that aren't super popular, but they're still popular, like Passion Fruit.
Yes.
I still bump that.
That's what I mean.
Passion Fruit.
Fire and Desire. That still is a rotation.
I know. I get you. When we start like talking about like his song, they're not up to that caliber.
Yes, not at all.
I'm sorry to say that they're not up to that caliber.
And
it's just different.
Cool.
It's just that's how to put it. It's just different. And when you're used to a certain thing, it's hard to try to be like, okay, this is what my artist is putting. I hate saying that, my artist. This is what this artist is putting out right now, and I just have to kind of like acclimate to it, like trying to like get into it a little bit, but that's not your vibe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's just not your vibe.
I need the old singing ass Drake.
Yeah.
I would love to
honestly,
hear.
though, to be honest, I haven't heard the new song, so if we want to put it on right now, and I can...
Okay.
Can we do that right now? No, while we're listening to the
pause it. We can't monetize off of it. So we tried to do, and they blocked our podcast.
So I do believe that marriage is something very valuable and beautiful, but it is with the right person. And I don't know what type of journey or task or I don't know quest you have to go through to find that right person. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's still a risk. You'll never really know if that person is truly the right person for you.
I think if you know completely who you are, and if your journey through life is to really get in touch with yourself and all the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything, and that's your main focus, then the person who you ultimately will be with will reflect that.
Yeah, and I do believe in that too. And even though that person
that you don't have to guess.
You don't have to guess, but I still know in reality that people change.
That's
things happen.
That's based on like because you've been burnt too.
Yeah, but it's just being a realistic type of person. Like I just know that this happens. The thing is, I can be a Disney type of person where it's like, I look at these movies like, yes, my love is gonna come, yes. But it's just like, I also know that people fucking change.
They change.
I know that things happen. So it's just like, even though I can have a happy marriage, I know you can have a good 10-year run, you can have a 20-year run. But if you look at statistics, 50% of marriages end in divorce.
That's relatively new. And the reason I think about that too,
technology is involving.
It's not only technology, but a lot of people just think they're obligated to get married, and many people don't get married when they're actually ready to get married and know who they're marrying. Half the time, I feel like people marry the idea of somebody and most people present a certain way, even after years of knowing each other, until like much years later, you finally learn things that happened about somebody, 10 years before. So, like, that's why I don't think maybe the point that people choose to actually get married may not be right for them. But I think going back to your point about change is that everybody doesn't change for the worse. You might change for the better.
Yeah, for themselves.
You might change together. And that's where I think there's a difference. Because I've seen couples who've lasted till they died, and they've changed over time who they were, but they were growing together, and that's something they worked on.
That is so rare. Because
they
I even look at my parents. Like my parents are together; they're not married, but it's just like their relationship is not the ideal relationship at all. Like if you come in, you be like, "What the fuck did I just walk into right now?"
I think that's most relationships.
Yeah. But also just going back, I remember like a while ago, and not to throw any of us under the bus, but we both like had said like, yeah, we meet somebody right now at the type of like the age that we're at, a 7-year type of 7-month engagement. Like just like if we know like right there, like then we're down to do it. So it's just like that doesn't mean that time is right. Like that doesn't.
Yeah,
that's not a good amount of time if you really think about it realistically. Like I've known people who have been together for 10 years and then decide to get married.
Yeah, still don't know each other too. Some people may know each other, and that's also to, again, knowing who you are, because and what you actually want, but then also not just that other person knowing that too, because a lot of times we think we do, but we haven't done the work to do it, and they haven't done the work to do it either, or we didn't even require the other person to do it before saying like, okay, this is who I want to be with, you know, because how do you know you want to be with them? Do you really know them? Like, do you really know some of the struggles they went through? Do you know, the nights they couldn't sleep? Do you know what ticks them up? Like, do you know them? You know what I mean? And do you know their character? Can you trust them outside of you? You know, who they are as a person? Could you really say who this person is?
This just makes me think, though, to like, honestly, I'm not even completely against arranged marriages sometimes, because there are certain communities, certain cultures where they have arranged marriages, and those shits last.
Yeah.
Like
that, but sometimes that goes to what you said about, like, I think some people are doing it out of obligation. Like, we don't, because honestly, my grandparents never divorced, but they had separated. My grandmother never messed with anybody ever again. He was her only person ever in life. But he, after they separated, got remarried, air quotes, and everything. And so, but she felt that she could never divorce him because she felt obligated. You know what I mean? But is it a matter of obligation where, culturally we have to stick together? Culturally, we don't get divorced in these scenarios, especially Catholicism coming from the Catholic background. That's a sin. So it's like, am I going to sin, or I'm going to just sit here with you? Or is it like, oh, we had an arranged marriage, but we actually fuck with each other. Like, we actually learned, we learned that we have similar experiences where, we both are in this shit together.
That's more, don't you think that's just like a personality thing?
Yeah, it is.
Are just more open-minded.
It could be.
I'm against the arranged marriage thing. Because I feel like everybody, you gotta see what you want, not what they want for you. And so I feel like some people, it's a money thing. Like,
yeah,
it's a lot of people. Not even some. A lot. It's an arranged marriage situation. It's a money thing. It's a status. So a lot of people do it for the status. But I feel like the people who arrange the parents that arrange arranged marriage, I feel like, do you really care about what your child wants? They never got to know them. We just know this date, this time, this age, you guys are getting married. No
from birth.
Exactly. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You guys are getting married. But that means that person, we don't know, in certain situations, did you grow up with this person and it's an arranged marriage? Or
I don't even know the motherfucker.
I don't know this person. I just met him yesterday, but we get married 2 days later. So my thing with the arranged marriages is like, you don't give your child the time to learn this person, because at the end of the day, with an arranged marriage, if that person even remotely thinks like, damn, I don't want to be with this person no more, they're gonna shun you, cast down blame, like this is your fault. They're gonna make you feel all types of bad to make you stay in this committed in this arranged relationship, marriage in a sense. And it's just like, everybody has to figure it out for themselves. Like how you guys were saying, you don't know everything about everybody. But I feel like you got your 5 points in the checklist. Can I trust you? Can I tell you everything? Do you love me? Or, you got my back type of thing. And, what's the fifth one I can think of between people? Can we grow? Those are your 5 things. Those are essentially the 5 things you want to think about.
Yeah.
Those are essentially the 5 things you want to think about. Everything else comes along the line. You're going to learn stuff down the line. You're going to see patterns. People evolve. People devolve into somebody terrible, or people evolve into somebody that you expected. Because there's women and men who date people who are at the lows of the low. but there's something that I see in you or you see in me that I know I can bring out of you. And I feel like a lot of women do that.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like a lot of women
fixer-upper type things.
Exactly. And I've been in situations where I've been in relationships where it was like that. But for me, it's like, are you going to accept me for me? You know, everybody's not supposed to change. Everybody's not supposed to grow.
Are you trying to be with me to change?
Are you coming into the relationship thinking, you know what, I could turn him into
what I want?
Exactly. Or am I in a relationship because I love him, but I want him to be better?
Better for him too, not just for me.
Right.
Because of selfish reasons, I know he could be better for him.
Right. So are you looking at it as a one-way street where I have this vision of the perfect guy? I'm gonna take this guy, plug him off. Oh, you know what? He's down. He's not at his peak. I'm gonna take him to his peak. But you also got to remember, when it's a one-way street, if you're taking them to that peak, you got to be ready for what comes with that. Yeah. Because you got to think about it. If you were so solely focused on turning and molding this person to who he is, and to somebody he never knew he could be, you got to be ready for him to say, you know what? I don't want this anymore.
Exactly. I don't want to be with you.
Exactly. I'm at a place. You've excelled him to status.
And now y'all don't even match frequencies because now he's at a different place in his life. He's like, actually, that you're not on the same frequency.
Because now I've become more than what I become more.
Expected.
You had me here and you got me here, but you built my confidence and my self-esteem and everything about me to where now I'm above you. Why the fuck am I with you? Instead of us, I'm growing, but you're growing. I'm growing right with you. I'm trying to grow and change. Together. You know what? I want to change you for the better, but I'm going to change. I'm going to see myself in a different light.
Yeah. It's more so like a partnership. Like what you're describing is like, we are in this together. It's a journey where, yes, I see something in you and I'm going to help you grow, but also on that journey, I'm growing too, where this is symbiotic. But on the other hand, I think a lot of people, like you said, you're fixing up somebody because you want somebody. Like, I don't know why when you said that, but it reminded me of, like, that Kim Kardashian app, or a lot of apps where, like, you can kind of, like, create the person you want, the color eyes, the dress, or whatever, and I feel like a lot of people do that instead of just taking somebody as they are and, like, really accepting them as they are and then potentially helping them level up, but not with the expectation that they're going to level up either. You know, and because a lot of people, they don't have to take your advice. You know, just because you think somebody's not doing well also doesn't mean that they're not for themselves. Like, what if this is what they wanted? So you got to be ready to accept that, or you got to be ready to just be like, okay, I want you to do this. Like, I would like you for, you know, I could see something better for you. And do you agree? Like, you know, and also, do you see something better for me? Like, do you see where I can grow? Like, how can I help you and then you help me grow? Like, so I'm going to just stay here because I'm perfect? No, I could grow in different ways.
I mean, you know, everybody, you know, in a relationship, there's different forms, you know, people are trying to grow together, people stay stagnant, one person moves past the other, and vice versa. It's the mindset I would say you come in, you know, in any relationship I go in, how are we, me and you, going to grow? How are we going to, you know, what's our next move? You know, what's our end game? What's our, okay, you know what? We're going to do this and we're going to bank on this and we're going to, you know, make this stick so we can retire. Nobody wants to, you know, work for anybody forever. So in my mind, it's like, okay, you know what? Let's invest. Let's, you know, what's the next thing? What's trending? What's a business we can start? What's something we could do? And then there's people where, you know, he or she wants to grow, and another person is like, you know, they're comfortable. But then you have the people who are growing, but you know what? I'm still dragging you along. And if you're dragging somebody along, at the end of the day, they're gonna wear you down because you're dragging them to the top of the mountain, or you're gonna, you know, I'm gonna leave you here. You know.
Yeah, because how much can you grow? How much can you actually grow with a ball and chain on your ankle?
Exactly. When people are holding you back, you're not gonna reach you're not gonna reach that potential as fast as you know you can reach that potential.
Yep.
And sometimes you gotta leave people behind because leave people behind, that's the kick in the hump. Or those people that get left behind just find somebody else to do the same exact thing
for them.
Exactly. It's a leash. It's a leash scenario. I'm leashing on you until you figure it out that you know what, fuck this.
I don't want this sucker on me.
Exactly. And then now you know what? Then I'm gonna crawl back into my shell, leech on to the next person until I find the person I can leech on that is so weak minded, so their confidence is low, and things like that, to where I can leech on them and just live freely. It's like that movie on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it. It's Tyler Perry. It was a Tyler Perry movie, and he was the lawyer.
Oh. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. Where the young dude
yes.
That's the scenario.
It's not the acrimony.
Fuck, I hate that fucking movie.
The what?
Acrimony.
Oh,
I hate that movie.
Really? I like acrimony.
Fuck that movie.
What? I mean, in a sense, it was like that though, because she did
Yeah, she boosted that nigga up.
Yeah.
But she didn't. But that's the thing.
She was horrible to him though.
But she gave up on his dream. So when she boosted him up, she did everything. He had a dream, and his dream, and he didn't give up on his dream. She gave up on his dream, and but she let the outside circle influence her family wise. But
she started being rude to him too. It's like also it's emasculating. I mean, yes, you should speak up for yourself as a woman, blah blah blah. But sometimes, I mean, yeah, but it's just a matter of respecting his status as being a man too. Like, I'm not gonna talk to him a certain way. Saying that I respect he not talk to me in a certain way, I don't want to, emasculate him. People be tripping sometimes. I know you get upset, but you don't have to say certain things or act certain ways.
But like I said with acrimony was she did everything to boost him up, bring him along, and he was mooching. At a point, as much as I hate the movie, he was mooching. But he had a vision. So, it wasn't like he was mooching to mooch.
And didn't know what the hell
he was doing. He didn't have any guidelines. He knew what he wanted to do. And he was mooching. He had the vision. He knew what he wanted to do. But in the world, things aren't just going to jumpstart and kick off right when you think. Exactly. To get where you want, you have to. It's something my dad would say to me. You had to earn your stripes. You had to put in your work. You had to put in your time to get to this point. So yeah, he had to do his time. He had to trial and error, fail. Had to fail. It's the mentality where are you going when you get knocked off the horse, are you gonna get back up and keep going, or are you just gonna say fuck it? I got knocked off the horse. I'm cool. I don't want to do it. And he kept trying. He had this vision. He kept trying. And then with the outside influence with her, it deterred her, fuck this marriage. I'm going to do me. And, she met the guy that she used to really like. And, it wasn't what she thought it was going to be like. Oh, I thought, he was the one. He was amazing. He looked great in high school. He still looks great now. And it didn't turn into anything. It was everything she didn't want it to be. And the perfect person, he succeeded now. He paid for everything. He repaid her the money. Hey, you know what? I know you don't want to be with me, but I do owe you this. And she couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
She couldn't let it go. I hate that movie to this day. I hate
Why?
that movie.
Because of the story? You didn't like
how I didn't like how the fact that, granted, I can see the point, I can see both sides of the fence. Where she was mad, I'm supporting you. At this point, we're going broke. We're, I don't have no more of the money that my mom left me. And, what are you doing? What are you kickstarting? You still living on this dream? But, Bill Gates started in a garage. Microsoft started in a garage type of thing. The dude started in his house, and he had this vision. He just needed
somebody to help just curate that.
Right. He needed that right person to say, hey, I'm gonna take this to the bosses. I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they offered him the money on the spot. He had the idea, he had the vision, he had the proposal. Mm-hmm. They offered him the money on the spot, but by the time he came home to tell him that, it was too late.
Yeah. And after that too, she couldn't be told nothing. That was the thing too, because when he was ready to talk to her and stuff, like she wasn't trying to talk.
No,
she wasn't trying to listen. And I get it. I can see why she had put up with a lot of shit. But then you can't be mad when you moved on. You can't try to sabotage his happiness because now you ready. Yeah, you put in all that damn work, but also you left him hanging too. So I mean, yeah, you did all that, but he deserves to like move on. He don't have to wait for you.
I mean, she found what she was looking for quick when he got put out.
Yeah.
She moved quick. He didn't move quick. He was down. Like he was down before he was still down.
Yeah.
And
she deserved to be happy and she deserved to do that, but you just can't be mad when he finds his happiness.
No, you can't. And she felt that she
mosquito bites. Go ahead, sorry.
Damn, and she was entitled to the money. She felt entitled, like, I was here through all this, but you left. Mm-hmm. So that spot can be filled by anybody. Mm-hmm. So now that spot can be filled by anybody, you have there's no right for you. There's no right for you to be mad. Mm-hmm. Why are you mad?
Exactly.
You left me. You let the outside influence you. But now that I got dollar signs,
now you like, oh, you're the man I always wanted to be with. Okay, but there was times where now you didn't want to be with me, and you figured out your other part of your life, and that's cool. But also, you gotta acknowledge that that's what I want for me. Mm. All right, folks, so that's it for this week's episode of Unfckwitable. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and other platforms where you access podcasts. And until next time, stay unfuckwitable.